last week, if this thing would work. Okay, so this is what we went through last week. It is right. So we started computer fundamentals. I didn't get to record, but we went through IT, ICT, and computer science, functions of computers, and we started components of a computer system. So I'm just gonna leave these here if you want to screenshot them.
Thank you. I can.
Okay. And then this one can screenshot.
All this is what was done last week,
Yes,
the
please.
last class.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going through it again. I'm just putting it up again for the benefit of the ones who were not here last week. So you can kind of just screenshot and copy it whenever you have time. This recording is going to be up on YouTube. And that was the last thing we did last week. So now we're going to continue components of a computer system. We finished hardware. We're going to do software this time. And then we're going to go through types of computers and types of application software. So let's start off with software. So there's three main types of application software. Those are computer programs, system software, and application software. First, we're going to look at computer programs. So these are the instructions made by programmers to create system and application software. These include programming language editors, compilers, debuggers, and IDE. What IDE is Integrated Development Environment, I think, and that would encompass that would have programming language editor tools, compiler tools, and debugger tools. So when you move on to programming, you're going to encounter all of that stuff. But those are computer programs. I'll just leave this up for a bit so you can copy it if you'd like.
All right, I'm finished.
Okay, awesome. So next we're going to move on to system software. System software is usually called an operating system. That's something you'll have to remember, as it controls the hardware and how all the other software on a computer works. It also includes utility software, which protects and maintains the system software. So utility software protects against viruses, backs up files, and recovers files after a software crash. Some examples of system software are Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Android, Linux, etc. So system software is the operating system, but it also the utility software that protects the operating system and maintains it. So you can let me know when you finish copying that.
Yeah, I'm finished.
That fast?
Yeah,
You write
uh,
fast. Okay, so then we're going to go through application software. Application software gives the computer instructions on how to carry out specific tasks. Some examples of application software would be word processors or spreadsheets. So things like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, but really anything that you download from the App Store or Play Store, those would be application software.
So would Excel be an application that's so-
Yeah, Microsoft Excel is an example of application software.
Yeah, you can move on.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Well, I just asked about Excel. That's basic. Oh, is not application. One before application.
System software?
Yes. Is would that block can that put up a firewall since it also uses to protect
Mm-hmm. That would
the
be included in the utility software aspect of it. So
people?
virus protection, all of that stuff is included in utility software.
Okay. So my
Okay, so let's move on to the types of computers. There are four main types of computers that we're going to be looking at. These include mainframe, desktop systems, embedded systems, and mobile devices. So the first one we're going to look at is mainframe. That's a picture of one on the right. These are large capacity computers with several CPUs. They can support hundreds or even thousands of users simultaneously. Users can connect to the mainframe remotely, however, only system administrators have direct access to the physical computer.
okay. So
Hmm.
these computers mainframe would be like probably like banks or big business companies.
Exactly. Large organizations and big businesses would use mainframes. Hmm.
Yeah, you can move on now. Thank you.
Okay. Hmm. So the next type of computer system we're going to look at would be desktop systems. So these are also known simply as computers. This is what we know as computers. And they can fit on a desk and they're relatively easy to buy, maintain, and upgrade. And they're single user. So unlike mainframes, they only have one CPU and only one person can use them at a time. And they're usually used for office work, gaming and entertainment, internet access, and data communication.
But this connect with the mainframe.
Pardon?
Can this connect with the mainframe?
Yes, it can. So in
Because I
big
know
corporations
some
and stuff, each employee would have their own desktop system.
yeah, because I know some businesses have desktops as well.
Hmm. So it would connect remotely to the mainframe.
Finish.
Okay, next we're going to look at embedded systems. Those are some examples on the right. So these are designed for one or two specific tasks. They're usually embedded as part of a complete hardware device called an embedded device, and they use little processing power and may or may not be able to connect to the internet. So if we go through them, industrial robots, it depends on the business, but for the most part, they wouldn't be able to connect to the internet. Most digital cameras can't connect to the internet. DVD players cannot connect to the internet, but routers can. That's their whole job. Okay? So unlike desktop systems or mainframes, they can't do a range of tasks. They can only do one or two specific tasks.
Right.
hmm
You can proceed.
Okay. So the last type of computer system we're going to talk about would be mobile devices. Mobile just means portable. So these are known as handheld devices, and they're like personal computers, but they're smaller, lighter, and do not need to connect to power to work as they have batteries. So you just charge up the battery and you can take it wherever you want until the battery runs out. Some examples of mobile devices would include laptops, tablets, smartphones, etc. So they can basically do all the same things as a desktop system, but they're just smaller and easier to carry
Smaller.
around. hmm
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so then we're going to talk about the types of application software. So there's four main types of application software. These include general purpose software, customized and custom written software, specialized software, and integrated software. First one we're going to look at would be general purpose software. These are the most popular applications as they're not specific to any organization or business, and they can be used by anybody. The user would decide what the software is used for. So, as the name suggests, general purpose, they have many different uses, so it's up to the user to decide what they want to use it for. They're cheaper than other types of software and they're typically bug free. And some examples of general purpose software would include word processing or spreadsheet programs. So if we look at Microsoft Word, which is a general purpose software, you can use that to write notes. You can use it to write up your resume or CV. You can use it to write a letter. So there's many different uses. So it's up to the user to decide what they want to use it for. Okay?
So this one you basically have an option. You could use it both personally and what I'm looking for.
Like in a business?
Yeah, like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, businesses can use general purpose software, or individuals can use general purpose software. It's open to anyone to use.
You could go ahead. I'm
Okay. Next, we're going to look at customized and custom written software. So first off, customized software is modified general purpose software. So it's used to perform specific tasks for the user. So this is when you take a general purpose software and you modify it to do a specific task. Custom written software, on the other hand, is also known as bespoke or tailor-made software, and it's software written specifically for an organization. So it's written from scratch for a specific organization. Users must be specifically trained to use this software efficiently because it's not general purpose, so it's not widely available. So there's no online tutorials and things like that to teach you how to use the software. So your company would have to specifically train you on how to use this software. So an example of custom written software would be software used by financial institutions, things like banks, credit unions, things like that. So they would have a custom written software that they would use to keep track of their clients' accounts and things like that.
You could continue.
Okay. Is everyone else on track? Is everyone else in the stream, I should ask? Okay. Well, let's move on now to specialized software. Specialized software is written for a specific task rather than a range of functions. So an example of specialized software would be the camera application on your mobile phone. Your camera app can't send emails or write notes. Your camera app is simply to capture pictures and videos. Okay? So that would be a specialized software. Mm-hmm. Okay. So lastly, we're going to look at integrated software. Integrated software is the term used to describe a program that includes all the major types of applications and brings them together in a single software package. Whenever you think integrated software, think of a software package. So many computers are sold with integrated software already installed. Some examples of integrated software would include Microsoft Office and Adobe Creative Suite. Microsoft Office comes with Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, etc. Adobe Creative Suite would come with things like Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, things like that. So it's a software package that includes other types of software.
Understand.
Pardon?
I say I understand.
Right, okay.
I have this down, so you could go ahead.
Just let me know when you finish copying this.
Yeah, I have it done. You can go
Okay,
ahead.
that was it. Any questions for today? We still have a bit of time left, so would you guys like me to go over what I did last week? Because you'll still have to copy these questions to do for next week. You don't have to do them, but they're just to see if you understood what we did this week and last week. So is there anything you would
Yes,
like me to go over from last week?
yes, yeah, I don't mind going over it.
Okay.
We did even well, I screenshot it if it's but
So,
you could go ahead and go by.
pardon?
You could go ahead and go by last week. Yeah.
Right. Just for those who were not here earlier, this is everything we did last week. If you'd like, you could screenshot it. All of the answers for the questions at the end will be found in these notes, so it's nothing difficult.
You could go back to the first one. I
The
don't think I have that.
this one?
Just go, no, the one after it.
Okay.
Yes, this one.
Okay. You can
Thank you.
screenshot that one.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So again, we're just going through everything we did last week. If you see anything that you need clarification on, just let me know. So this is just you'll have all the notes in order to do the questions at the end. And you can screenshot these notes.
I have a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
What read-only memory is that like encrypted messages or something that would be encrypted?
These are types of storage. So it's, well, memory. So it's not really encrypted messages. It's really anything that you have stored on your device.
That's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then that's what we did last week. For those who came late, I'll go through the notes for today. So you can screenshot those. Oh, sorry. Again, if there's anything you need clarification on, feel free to ask. Okay, and that was the end of what we did today. Any questions from the others? I hope you got all those screenshots. I'd advise that you write them out. It'll help you remember better, but of course you don't have to. And these are the questions that I've set based on what we would have done last week and this week. So all of the notes that I just shown, these questions are based on those. So you can copy this quick.
It's only six
Pardon?
questions. Sorry, it's only these six questions.
Yeah, it's just the six.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think someone wanted you to go over the components, please.
The components. Okay. So did everyone screenshot this already? You can start working on it now if you'd like. And if you have any questions for me, I'm here. All right, let's see. Okay. So the computer is made up of two main components, which would be the hardware, the physical components of the computer, and the software, the instructions that tell the computer what to do. So you can't have a computer with just hardware because it will just be a pile of physical equipment with no use. And you can't have software without hardware because you'd have nothing to run it on. So we spoke about hardware first. There are five main types of hardware that you'll need to know. There's also a sixth that we will go through. So the five main types would be the central processing unit, the CPU, input devices, output devices, memory, and storage devices. So the CPU is the brain of the computer. If there's one line you need to remember, it's that the CPU is the brain of the computer, and it controls how the rest of the computer works. It's assisted by the control unit and the arithmetic logic unit, which we'll talk about. So the control unit carries out the instructions of the software and directs the flow of data through the computer. That's something you'll need to remember about the control unit, is that it directs the flow of data through the computer. Okay? Any questions so far? No? Perfect. So the arithmetic logic unit now is a component of the processor that performs the arithmetic and logic operations. So arithmetic operations would include any math that the computer would have to do, so addition, division, subtraction, multiplication, all of that stuff. And logic operations would include comparison of data items. So greater than, less than, equal to, that would be logic operations. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about input devices. These allow data to be entered into the computer. So examples would include keyboards, microphones, computer mice, or cameras. And output devices allow processed information to leave the computer. So examples would include printers, monitors, or speakers. So a printer would give you a hard copy, a monitor would give you a soft copy, but they're both output. Then we went through memory. This allows the computer to temporarily store data and instructions. So examples would include flash memory and cache. And storage devices. These temporarily and permanently store data and instructions. Examples would include hard disk drives, CD-ROM, or floppy drives. And then that's where I gave this bit of information. Just something you might want to remember. If you ever come across these terms, you know what they mean.
CD-ROM is basically read-only memory but on a CD.
Pardon?
Is CD-ROM
Mm-hmm.
read-only memory but on a CD?
Right. So it's right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
That's
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. So the last type of hardware, which is not one of the main types, is peripheral devices. So these are located outside of the CPU, but they're controlled by it. And they can be added to the computer system, and they can include input, output, and storage devices. So keyboards, if you have an external keyboard that you have to connect to your computer, that is a peripheral device. It's also an input device. Hard drives that you have to connect to your computer, those are peripheral devices. They're also storage devices. Speakers, well, external speakers that you have to connect to your computer, peripheral device. It's also an output device. Right, so examples would include printers, keyboards, or disk drives. And then we continued that topic today with software. The three main types of software. We went through computer programs, which are instructions made by computers to create system and application software. We went through system software, which are also known as operating system. You'll need to remember that. And they control the hardware and how all the other software works. And they also come with utility software, which protects and maintains the system software. So protecting against viruses, backing up files, recovering files after a software crash. Those are some examples. Then we went through application software, which gives computers instructions on how to carry out a specific task. So those would be things that you download from the App Store. And that was the end of components of a computer system. So any questions about that? For anyone who just joined, the recording is going to be posted on YouTube. We are pretty much finished for the day. But when you go through that recording, see if I can find it. Right. When you go through that recording and you get all the information you need, then I would like you to work on these 6 questions. All of the answers are found in the notes, so it's nothing difficult. And we're going to go through these questions next week. So we've got 5 minutes left of class. I'm just going to leave this up so you guys can copy or screenshot. And I'm here if anyone has any more questions, want me to go back over anything. But it's almost 4, so if you have no other questions and you've already copied or screenshot these questions, then you're free to go. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll see you guys next week.
You make it so easy to understand. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for coming. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. See you next week, Kai. Stay safe.
I have a question. Is it only third form uh IT you teach?
I also
Um,
teach 5th form IT on Fridays from 3 to 4. We're currently looking at information processing in the 5th form class. Pardon?
you want us to send the answers to you.
You can if you'd like, but we're gonna go through all the answers before we move on to the next topic next week.
Okay.
So just
All right. Well,
have your
that.
answers ready, and we're gonna go through all of them next week.
Thank you.
No problem.
Do you teach like other classes or just IT?
Just IT for now. Just third and fifth form IT. I wanted to do other classes, but I don't really have the time. Okay, Kai, see you next week. Stay safe. Oh, I forgot to mention I have office hours tomorrow on Wednesdays from 3 to 5. I'll put it in chat. Okay, does anyone have any further questions? Is anyone not finished copying the questions?
I'm finished. Thank you.
Alrighty. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe.
Same to you.
Bye bye.